once you've sort of optimized each stage or element of the workflow, right? How do you make sure the entire holistic package is working as it should be and stays working as it should be?
Well, so again, you want to monitor all those points, but you don't necessarily like want to put 1,000 monitoring points on screens and have operators staring at them and just get noise. So you need some intelligence there too that actually can look at all those monitoring points and know that they're all exactly the same as the origin. That you can look at one and know it's the truth for everywhere in that workflow, and then when there's an error, really tell you where that error is so you can quickly discover it and do remediation because you now know, your root cause analysis is also done by the system. So we are looking for a level of intelligence in these systems. We're looking at something that does monitor all these points and actually can go deep enough to actually look at content in those points and not just say there's data flowing here, because a lot of the problems you might even have would be misrouted signals where it's the wrong thing airing in the wrong place because you're building these workflows where you might be doing routing way for commercial breaks and not coming back, or breakaway and not getting the right returns. So it is complex, but there are other tools out there, and you can really, I think, monitor that whole thing end-to-end very cost effectively today.
I think a lot of it though is not just, there's monitoring, right? Knowing where your traffic failure points are at on your network during a live event, but it's also the partners you're investing into. Those partners need to have as much investment back to you as a business to ensure your success, right? If they're kind of like, hey, go ahead and don't worry about this, just send us your stream, we'll go ahead and distribute it. That would be my first red flag. If you're not invested in making sure that you're sitting down at the table with me and we're walking hand in hand in this, and you have a tier 1 event that you're trying to pull off, and there's an incredible market and PR value to you as an organization, and you're putting your eggs, so to speak, into a basket that appears that nobody cares on the other side, that is a problem.
When I was thinking more like, a lot of our customers do the whole thing end-to-end, but you're right, when you start working with partners and other companies, you need to get those analytics back into your system and be able to watch them too, and sometimes even put your own monitoring at the edge to provide yourself the trust that they're actually doing what you think they're doing.
Trust and verify.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There's a statement that we've used often, which is, do you build the system for success or do you build the system for failure? And meaning that if it's successful, you're going to be in an amazing place. And if it fails, well, if you plan for failure, okay, that's great, you did a good job, but your success failed. So which side do you plan for? And I think the trick is that most people don't follow through the scenarios that could actually happen, like an encoder stops or an internet stops or the camera stops. They just assume that their backup plan will just be figured out on the fly. In reality, you kind of have to try it. And most people, they're frantic before these events. So the last thing they want to do is unplug things and see if it really works. Most people are afraid to do that. But you have to stress test those systems. Turn on the monitoring. Hey, look, the flag went off. Look, the monitoring said something's wrong. What do we do now? And go through that stuff ahead of time.
Don't be afraid of unplugging. If your encoders are dual path on an Ethernet line, pull one of the lines. In a test scenario. Like your successful failures should happen in a lab. They shouldn't happen live to your customers.
And if nothing else, blame the ad creative.
That's the Netflix chaos monkey you need, right? To just come in there and on Friday evening, when turn the system off and see what happens.
Turn off power.
It would seem like monitoring is an element of the workflow that would lend itself naturally to AI. And we went back and forth as we were prepping here about, do we want to talk about AI at all? And it kind of became a, no, you do it. No, you do it. Any thoughts on AI? It seems like, Brian, you might have had some there.
Well, I guess two things. So on the monitoring things, it's true. We have automated monitoring, and we can trigger alarms and events and things like that. But for tier 1, we usually like to have eyes on the glass, and if many customers pay us to have eyes on the glass. So that's one thing of that. I think the other point I was going to make around AI, it's not quite this kind of reliability thing. It was the broader definition of quality, right? I grew up in this business. So I remember having that first insight. These guys were talking about quality. They were talking about the encoding, the picture. Right? I was like, what? Even from my early times, I was like, quality in TV means much more than that, right? And that's true today, right? So, in the fast, linear business, right, we want to make sure the ad slots are filled, and we want to hit all the seamless changes and so forth and so on, and then the redundancies to all the platforms. So there's just so many different things. So one of those things is putting the ad breaks in the right spot so you can use sort of narrow AI for those purposes. And there's lots of great stuff in AI that's has been happening and will continue to be happening. And you can kind of QA those things and make sure, typos in the subtitles. And so there's lots of great, I think, some low-level, narrow use cases to just make the better video experience.